All right, hello everyone. Just checking to make sure my stream's up. Looks like things are going. Volume looks a little loud. Let me turn that down a tad. All right, that looks better. Sound good, everyone? Hopefully that's a good volume level. Not hitting the reds anymore. All right, well, good afternoon. This is a late stream for everybody, me included. Super excited to be back again and working on Xamarin.Forms fonts. Last time, if you were here, let me actually bring up a link. I'm going to bring up the GitHub link to the branch. It's just on my GitHub /form Xamarin.Forms. I'm going to bring up the branch I was working on. What I have been doing is working on a pull request to make custom fonts easier. They're quite painful right now, including how you have to do on-platform stuff in order to even use them, which I'm not a fan of. I like to be able to do things one way and only one way. Just make it work. Here's my font, display it. So yeah, we're going to work on that a little bit more today. The custom fonts, right now this branch has it to where you can specify really simple annotations for what font should look like. The font file name, pound, and then the PostScript name, or just the PostScript name. And most likely I can find the font file for you if it follows any sort of a convention there, which most do. And if they don't, you can fully fill it out. Yes, glad you're excited for this. So I've got last stream on Friday, we got the fonts working like that. And let me switch over to code and we can look at where we're at and what this looks like now. Zoom this in, make this a little better. That looks good. All right, so we were working in the sample app on the speakers page. And let me bring this up right now. Our new annotation that works just fine on UWP, Xamarin.Forms Android, and iOS, you can just do like cute font -regular. This will work everywhere. If you have something fancy like this PT mono, which has like pt55ft.ttf is the file name, complicated, but the script name doesn't match anything like the file name, you do this annotation. But if they match cute font as the font name, you can just do this. Super fancy, and it works. I was told let's check it on Font Awesome, just to make sure Font Awesome is pretty complicated. So I'll run it by Font Awesome, but as of right now, this works. We'll use Font Awesome as one of our test cases for the next step. So phase 1 is complete. We now have these fancy fonts. I mean, this simple way of saying fonts. The problem is, though, if you look into how we added these, inside the resources, I have one in iOS, and inside of iOS, I also had to add it to the info.plist. Inside of Android, I had to go into the assets and add it in here or into a fonts folder. Really annoying. No one wants to do this. Never knew indexing is possible in bindings. Oh, yes, that. Yeah, I mean, it's a .NET object. It can use it like a dictionary or whatever. So you can do really fancy stuff in those bindings. So yeah, really cool. Because I think those are bound directly to JSON values. This is something with the paging source stuff for the Azure Data Table stuff. So not the best sample to be using, but a lightweight one that I found in here. Okay, as always in my streams, feel free to ask questions. If you think I'm not doing something a good way, tell me that. I'd like to hear that. I'd like to know your opinion on how I should architect things or how we should do things differently. So definitely, feedback is welcome and feel free to join in any way you want. All right, so I want to fix this nonsense though. I don't like having to put these right now I have these resources duplicated across all of them. And UWP does the same thing, assets, fonts, and they live in there. I'm sorry, that's horrible. I'm tired of this. So what I want to work on today is make it to where we can just go into let's just set up the sample project for what I want. I want to go into our .NET standard library, and I want to say, hey, I have a new folder. I'm going to call it fonts. It doesn't matter what you call it. I'm just doing this to keep things organized. Actually, we're going to add resources because I like having a resource folder first. Add new folder, resources. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you do this. You don't have to put them in fonts. You don't need resources. I don't want to deal with that nonsense. I just want a way to just say, hey, here's my fonts, and they work. All right, so let's go into this stuff. as I said, let's set this up. Reveal in Finder. Let's go move. Actually, let's run this and make sure our fonts and all that are still working. And we can run it on iOS and Android. And then we'll move them out. Just as a sanity check, I'd hate for my project not to be working like I think it is. Do all this work and then the fonts not work. So let's sanity check it, make sure everything is working now. Launch iOS Simulator. Go build. Now I am building Xamarin.Forms and everything, which is a very big project with lots of things. So my build is a tad bit slower than what most people are used to. Hopefully your apps aren't this slow, because this is big. All right, so that's launching. Oh wait, simulator that way. Ooh, simulator. Build and run. All right, here it goes. It launches, and we have custom fonts on our speaker page. Yes, we're using our custom fonts. So custom fonts are there, nice and ugly like. Actually, is that one right? That one doesn't look like it's using the right font. That PT Mono. Dun, dun, dun. Let's just add TTF in there just to see if doing something like that fixes it. And that's on the Android one, just a sanity check, so maybe that font is right. Android. I know it works on Android. I thought I had it working on iOS too. It's the last thing we did. In the simulator, it's faster. And then we'll compare them side by side just to make sure we're right. And once I get this work done, the next thing I want to add, though, is the accessibility style fonts. If we have time, we'll throw that in today. It's nice because if people, I think 40% of people have their fonts way up high in the accessibility, and iOS does nothing to help with that. Hey, Dan, thanks for joining. I'm just going through and looking at the old code, just making sure it works before I continue on. Because I thought I had it all working, but I don't want to be in a bad state and then not get things working. All right, so Android's deploying. That font doesn't look right. I don't know if that's using that new mono one. Let's check here. If not, we'll fix Android iOS before we move on to that, because I want to make sure they're working. Speakers. Yeah, that font's not right. All right, I don't have something working on iOS. Let's go debug that. We'll actually get to look at the old code, or the new code, I mean. All right, so that's inside of extensions, font extensions. Oh, did I not do it everywhere? I'm wondering if there's, that should be fine. Okay, so let's check out the, let's put a breakpoint here. Now let's put a breakpoint here. Because that should not happen. Run. Also, I don't do music on my streams. Yeah, Comic Sans is a great one to test with. It's super easy to tell. But that one, I can't commit to our source code repository. It's a Microsoft font. That's the downside to it. I don't think I can. That's why I went and stole these. Oh, I'm doing Android again. Not useful. Let's go back to here. Thanks, guys, for catching that, making me build for nothing. Let's run this, and let's debug why iOS isn't working, and then after iOS is fixed, we'll jump into the resources. Resources should be pretty simple. I think I know how I'm going to do it. Kind of architecture I want to do is we're going to have to do something to register these. So we're going to have some sort of font registry of some sort. We might be able to tie into the existing like renderers registry, and then just put a new font attribute in. Honest font is that. This thing is so bad. It's not finding that. It doesn't care about the font thing. I'm doing this wrong on iOS. On iOS, if they have the name, I don't return the first part. What am I returning? If index is last, just return what's there. Font equals this. I am totally returning the wrong thing. Why did I do iOS wrong? Let's fix iOS. We only care about the PostScript name, not the file name. Like on the other ones, we need the file name and it's required. On iOS, we only want the PostScript name. So I don't need to do anything with the extensions because this is not right. Okay, so if index is less than 0, it doesn't exist. We only care about what's after the hash if they have it. So I need one more thing in here. And we need to make sure that we okay, so that'll work if they don't have a hash. All right, I'm trying to think, make sure I do this right. We might need some more test cases for fonts, but I think this is right. I would just return, in this case, yeah, we don't even care about the extensions. I did this completely backwards. So if there's not a hash, we're just going to say, hey, you did it right, you took care of it. Because then you're not doing anything with the font name. We may want to do a check in there for these extensions. Let me leave that in there for right now. To do, maybe remove the extension. And if not, we'll think it's fine. So that's if the font is less than that, we'll check for this. This is what I need. So what you're saying is I should create a visual that defaults fonts to Comic Sans. I don't know if Comic Sans will work on iOS. Like, I don't think we can legally ship it on iOS and Android. Am I right on that? Maybe we can. I don't know the licensing on fonts. I like to ignore that stuff. All right, so I'm just thinking about these. Let me type out this code really quick of what we're fighting. So right now, let's just say we have one that is, let's just grab our examples, the ones that aren't working. So for this one, right, this one needs to return PT mono. Okay, that's what it needs to return. Let's close that extensions file, go to this one. This one just returns itself. Now, if I have, which this is very valid, cute font.ctf or pound, I want to only return this part. Oh, it added that in there. Okay, and then if I have cute font, yeah, okay. I think that's the only thing that's missing. And if they did, yeah, they shouldn't specify the file name without specifying the script. So I don't think I need to even deal with any of this stuff. I think we'll be fine. We'll check all the fonts that I have checked in here. I think all I need to do is say return substring. I mean, this got simpler. Font name dot index of. The question is, am I doing this right? I'm off by ones. Off by ones. Hash index, is it +1 here? I think it's +1. Let's find out. Oh, not index of, substring. What am I doing? All right, so I think that's right. If we substring that, that should give us what we're looking for. Let's run that. And then, yeah, I think that's right. That looks right. Actually, I don't even need a breakpoint there. I just want a breakpoint here so we can see what comes out. And the hard part about this is unit testing this thing. This may take a little bit of tweaking, but I think I've covered all the edge cases. I've got all of these fonts working with this XML on this exact one works on iOS and Android for sure. I mean, UWP and Android, because those I tested very thoroughly. I thought I had the iOS right. I did that quick yesterday or Friday, and I think I did it wrong. Okay, PT mono should be right. And I did it just backwards. No, that's still wrong. Fun, fun, fun. All right, let's bring up this font. iOS is being tricky. iOS is the easy one typically on this. Let's open up Chrome, bring this over, and let's do PT Mono. Fire from Google Fonts. I wonder if I need PT. I wonder if I need the dash regular on this. Just for kicks, let's. I just want to look at also our, really quick, let's look at our docs again. Xamarin.Forms, custom fonts. Let's see what they say in here just to make sure I'm. And the thing is, we can document this and tell people how to use this without. So I probably don't need to support as many random ways. I just wanted to do something that makes sense. I want it as simple as possible unless you have to. Yeah, so they're saying you already have to do that. That's the thing, is you need to do dash regular on everything anyway. So we should be fine. Force the dash. So that should work. PT mono dash regular. It's funny I don't need the dash regular on iOS and Android. I mean, on iOS or UWP and Android though. Okay, fixed it. Know what to do. It's not the font file because of course the font file doesn't care. iOS registers those anyway. Yeah, we need to do something to do it. They have a debug.log. I thought it blows up. I thought when I was doing Xamarin or doing Gmusic, it was actually crashing on me when I didn't have them. Yeah, it has this couldn't load font name. I don't like that. We should probably do something that's nicer. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I was trying to find how to look up what's existing. So Dan's saying let's look and see if you can't do it, suggest what's in the font, what's in there. That's really easy to do on iOS, and I can't remember if it's easy to do on Android. On UWP, I had the hardest time of looking to see if it could find fonts. There was no way for me to even tell if they were loaded. Android blows up if you try loading one. iOS returns null. There's things I can do, but yeah. I should do a check in here. That's what I did on Android, was I would try doing a couple different options. Oh, I had to on Android. Yeah, so that's the thing is, it's hard. Android doesn't have something. iOS is the only one that gives you that. I don't know why people don't, or why these systems don't expose fonts better. So let's go with this. I fixed that XAML. I fixed the loading. Yeah, we probably should do something a little bit better in there just to make sure we're doing that right. For now, let's just, oops, nope, this one I want to fix. We're going to document that you need the dash regular, you need the style in there and stuff. And that's the only thing, and then the iOS one. iOS. It's funny though that iOS or Android doesn't require the regular, but iOS does. Found that very interesting. All right, so we have stuff. Let's make sure we didn't break Android while we're at it. Droid. Why don't you default to the running emulator? Yeah, so iOS is easy. Other thing, I don't use system debug because it ignores when Forms is built or released. That is very true. But so there's an internal log. Okay, I didn't write this code originally, so that log is new to me. .internals.log. Perfect. I like it. Let's throw that in there. Perfect, Dan. Thanks for the suggestion. I am always happy to do things like that. How do you write to this thing? .log errors. One sec. Let's let that catch back up. Okay. I've never used this log, so I have no idea how to write to it. All right, if you want to post how to write to that thing, I will definitely log to that, or I can Google it, I guess. But we'll switch to that as soon as I know how. Let's check the Android one and make sure it's still working. I'll ping the Android team later. I mean, the Forms team later and ask if you want. Okay, let this run. Whoa, I am not, that's the wrong project. We don't want embedding. Platform droid. Run. Log.log message. Okay. It's not giving me that. I wonder if there's extension or something. Not seeing it. Oh, does it need internal visible? No, this is internal. It's the font extensions. Oh, that's horrible. Who hides stuff? Okay, see if that works. And then it should build, you're saying? Okay, I just want to check the fonts really quick on Android. Android's still working. iOS is now working. Let's just see if it'll let me build iOS. Because I don't like, is there an extension method? Yeah, I'm getting a build error with that. So yeah, I mean, I'm using this inside of Forms iOS. So I'm inside the Forms project, so oh well. We're just not going to use it for now. I'll talk to them later about updating that font, because I like that idea a lot. But for now, we're just going to leave it as the debug. All right, so now we have these things working. I committed that. Let's go over and work on the resources, the thing I wanted to do today once I realized I broke iOS. All right. So inside of here, we added a new folder, resources, and let's go copy all of our fonts into that, because right now they're spread out between 3 different projects. Resources, cute font, we're going to add you. And we'll go delete all the old ones. And that's when we were using copy. We'll grab font awesome while I'm at it. Actually, font awesome, I don't know if I can include that in here. We'll test with it though. All right, so build actions, embedded resource. Now let's go into iOS. Let's delete these. Remove, delete. Remove, delete. Remove, delete. All right, got that. Info.plist. Let's go into source. Fonts. Goodbye, fonts. We're not adding you in there anymore. We're taking the easy road out. Okay, go to tier, go to assets. You two get deleted. One more, we'll just delete this whole folder. So I should be able to include it if it's not the pro one. It's not the pro, I just downloaded the free one. Hey Dave, welcome. All right, you know what? We're gonna live dangerously. Actually, yeah, we'll throw it in there. No, I don't like us behind the download thing, though. It is the free one. We should be fine. Web fonts. So let's just add in regular. Font awesome is being added. Okay. You don't think I'm using the mic? Am I not? Can you not hear me? I'm showing it go. It's this one right here. Let me double check. Yeah, hello? I am not using the right mic. How did you know, Dave? That mic sounds horrible. How is that? Now I've got 2 of me. Okay, is that... Oh, wow. Is that... Let me turn this down. Okay, how's that sounding? What is going... Yeah, it was worse for a second there because I had 2 of them. Yeah, it's using this wrong laptop. Hold on 1 second. One more thing. I have no idea why it forgot my mic and went to the wrong one. Just double checking one thing really quick. Oop. Minus that. I don't want 2 of those. Alright, do I still sound good? No, thank you. I'd prefer better audio.
I don't know why it chose the random laptop over there. So you guys can hear me good? Much better? It's very loud. Yeah, it is showing it's very loud. I have it turned way down. How about that? Is that better? I have no idea why that's up so loud. Alright, so sounds good now. Anybody? Good? Bad? Turn it down? Turn it up? Alright, I'm gonna go with I think I'm fine now. And if you guys want to chime in and chat if it's better or worse, let me know. Timestamps are always behind. These delays are great. And if I need to change my sound, I will again. You'd go back so it doesn't sound good? Hello, hello. No, this is the one I normally use. Okay, so louder but still blown out. 1 second. Levels. How about that? Is that better? Am I good? Yeah, somehow something got turned way up. Okay, I'm sorry guys, I don't know what happened to my audio. It freaked out somehow when I don't know. How do these things change? They're perfect one day, you come back the next and it's all wrong. Haven't touched that laptop since my last stream. Okay, so you guys can hear me now. We're good. Derailed. We'll jump back into our fonts. Alright, so we've fixed iOS. We'll deal with this debug thing later. I'll fight my sounds again later and hopefully I can get it even better for next stream. Okay, where were we? Alright, so we had just deleted all of our fonts. We just added a bunch of new ones, set them all as embedded resources. That's going to be key. We're going to need to do that. You turned off Android debugging? Yeah, how does this stuff happen? We work in tech, you think it'd be easy for us, but it still happens to all of us. Alright, now I want to talk through how I want to do this. Like I said before, I need to come up with some way to register these fonts. We might just use the built-in registrar. It kind of makes sense to, if I can. I'm thinking what we'll do is somewhere in our cross-platform thing, I want to have something, and do we have like, there's no info thing in here like there normally is. So I want to be able to just do like font, and then the resource name and a name for it. And I'm debating, I think I'll allow both. I'm thinking we'll do something like that as well as, oh, nope, just this. So you can alias it or you don't have to. Trying to think on that. Yeah, I'm just, okay. So on these, let's just look at what one of these would look like. So let's just grab cute font because it's a simple one. So we'll grab resource ID. I'm trying to think, And I think I need to do something like that if I'm registering those. Actually, I don't know if the second one will leave it. The first one, Dan was mentioning on Twitter he'd like a way to be able to reference these to an alias for easy lookup later. The biggest thing, if we do that, we're going to need more than just, I think something like that would be nice later, but I think for now, this is all we need. Because we know this is whatever's the .ttf, that's the file name. And so we'll make it to where the OS knows how to read those as if it was any other file, like you embedded it the other way. So I think this is what we need. Anybody on have any opinions? like I said, I think this is a good starting point. We'll start here and go with that. Once we have them loading, we'll go for something fancier. Yeah, we can add additional properties on the attribute later to be able to like specify things. But for now, I think this is what we need. And then we can add an alias or something later. But the thing is with the alias, it's not just going to be an alias. It's going to need alias as well as the script name, because this is always just going to be a file. So we'd need a way to map it, which is more complicated. I think it's nice and would be good to have, but I don't think we need it right now. After fighting the other font stuff, I just think that'll complicate things right now. All right, we'll go with this. I like it. All right, so let's jump into Xamarin.Forms, and we're not going to do anything in the platform yet. We're going to jump into Xamarin.Forms. We'll go to the core. Let's see where all the attributes live. Is the registrar stuff just right here? Dun, dun, dun. Where do those things live? Let's go to the registrar really quick, because we're going to have to hook into the registrar anyway. Okay, so the registrar is going to go through, get the assemblies, go through all of them of the attribute types, and what attribute types does it look for? How's this going to work? We're going to need to throw something on the platform that is going to get called with these font resource, pass that resource over to it, and then they're going to have to register it with the OS. On iOS, it's super easy to do. On Android, I wonder if this doesn't make sense. We only want to loop through these attributes once. So we'll use the registrar to go through and find the assembly attributes. Assembly, what's this attributes type? Register all. Because whatever calls this is what we're going to be looking for. So this is forms. They're going to do the export cell. Isn't there anything more than that? Are you going to add embedded fonts to platform assets during build time? Yes. So what we're doing is this is our sample app. So this is how you would be using it. So you'll just go into here, go to resources, and add your fonts. And they don't have to be in this folder. This is just, you're just going to, anything as an embedded resource, you're just going to reference those things on. So how many of these? Okay. What's this? Oh, so okay, so they go into they register it there per platform. I'm just trying to think how this thing works. It's changed a lot since I last worked on this. So we're gonna have to put those in there. Is it not possible to add fonts during runtime? Like, what do you mean by like you want to download a font or how? I'm just curious what you mean by that. All right, so we're just going to have to add it per platform. So yes, doing what we're doing here, you would be able to do that. Yes, there's right now, I don't know if you can in Forms right now. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to do something custom if you want to download a font. But yes, what we're doing here, we would allow you, yeah, because that's basically what I'm going to do is yeah, you'll be able to. If not, it wouldn't be hard to make it do that. All right, so where all these export attributes live? Oh, right there. They're just throwing them all in here, all these exports. All right, so we're going to do an export font attribute. And do these all have the same types, base class? Yes, they do. What I haven't decided yet is how we're going to hook into these yet. So we'll get those. Oh, wait, are those aren't per platform. How do they do it? That can't be right. That can't be what I'm looking for. Okay, platforms do actually support downloading fonts. Haven't taken the time to implement that. Well, not everything does. So iOS you can. It's not built in, but you could do it. Android wants you to load it from a file, so you can load a they call it typeface in those. Typefaces can be loaded from a file, and same on UWP, you can pass in a full file path. So yeah, you can just download it and do it. As far as iOS goes, yes, but it's not that simple. You have to go into a CG font and register the CG font. You can pass in bytes, so NS data. So we'll just grab the stream, pass that into it, and then you can register that with a font. There's a font factory, font register, I don't know, font something, we'll find it. So we're going to register that with the fonts. So that's how those do it. Now Forms doesn't have any of that built in. So you would be doing all that custom right now. And also Android has a way to that's to download the downloadable fonts that you've probably just linked. I didn't read the link, but I'm guessing that's the one where you point it to a font foundry and it deals with downloading it and doing things like that, which is a little different than what we're implementing here. So yes, you could do that and make that work with Forms, but I want to do something more cross-platformy. And you wouldn't be dealing with, I'm not dealing with any of the font foundry stuff. That stuff would probably still work, but yeah. All right. Um, let's look at those aren't the right attributes I'm looking for. Oh no, those are platform specific on iOS and Android. We're going to be the first one to throw those not in a platform specific one because typically those are. Okay, this will be different. Oh, the downloading? Yeah, I'm not going to deal with downloading, but what I'm doing here, if you just access what I'm building here, that'll work with downloading. Like you can just download the font and register it with the registrar stuff that we're doing, and then you'd have a downloaded font if you downloaded it. So yeah, different. I'm not going to build any downloading mechanism into this. That's outside the scope of Forms. I don't think it should do that personally. But if someone wanted to add that or do something like that, you download the font first and point it over, this should work. Okay, because yeah, we don't want this to be in platform specific. So let's do export font attribute. Okay. And actually this is different. I wonder if this handler attribute can do this. I don't know if this is the right way to do it. Now I'm thinking. We need a font handler thing, something like this, that needs to be registered on the other platforms. We definitely need that. Ah, this is trickier than I thought it'd be. It's tricky, it's simple to do, but it's tricky to hook into Forms. Anybody on the line have any ideas? Maybe I didn't want to create a whole new, we might need a whole font thing. I was trying to avoid that. All right, so this is what I'm trying to think through. What I need to do is I need to add this font attribute. It shouldn't be one of these handler attributes because the handler attributes is all type. This doesn't need type. It doesn't need any of the target type. Now I will need something like that. Sorry.
I will.
Okay, I will need something like that when it's time to actually register and build that font in. So I might need to build something. I might need a font register of some sort. So that way we can have the font register that is going to then get all these things passed to it. And then it'll call whatever on the platform specific. So I need a handler type and a string font. Yeah, but I don't want to put this platform specific because when you register these things, you're not going to override the loading. You could, and we should let you override that. But I'm thinking inside my app, I'm not putting this platform specific. So the handler type stuff isn't going to exist here. Do you see the conundrum I have? It's very different than all of the other, than a renderer. It really is very different than a renderer. Which is fine. Which is fine. We can do something different. Hmm. Yes, but that's that's a separate thing. So the issue I'm running into right now is I have all that working, Dan. Yes, you can load that way. That's great. Now what I need to do is hook in and allow you to add these as a, none of the platforms have a way to load them from a embedded resource. So now I need to do something to allow you to register a font as an embedded resource so forms know how to look those up. Actually, I can just do that in the font lookup. I'm not going to need something different there. I just need to check if there's any. Okay, I think I know where to go with this. Okay, I don't know if I should call this a handler attribute. No, I don't want to do this as a build task. I could, but I mean, I like being able to do this as building these in. That way you could do a font DLL and just ship it. Yes, I could still do as a build tasks, but now we're talking about increasing build times and copying things around and invalidating things. And do I copy it every time? I don't know. I think I can do this without a build task. I try and avoid build tasks whenever possible. Build times are such a headache that I don't like making them worse if I can avoid it. So doing it this way, we won't take a, yeah, we'll go this way. Okay, I just want to see if this thing, if I need to subclass this handler attribute, if there's any magic that happens with it. The registrar. I just want to see if the registrar requires them to be that. The thing is, though, we're not going to take this hit every time you load a font. You're going to take it the first time you run it. And I don't think it's going to be that big of a hit. I don't know if we're going to take much of a hit at all. With all of my font lookup stuff, it added a 15 millisecond the very first time you load a custom font. And then every time you use the font after that, it's fine. It's already loaded and done. So I don't know. I think we're going to be in the same magnitude of 10 milliseconds hit once the first time you go to load a font. So it shouldn't, after that, we shouldn't have any more runtime hits. Does that make sense? We'll try it. We'll profile this and see how it runs to make sure we're not. If it does take a decent runtime hit, then yeah, let's look into a build task. But I think this will work. Yeah, exactly. I do, and this was looking on Android, and that was on the slowest I had it. When I was running it in the emulators, I was getting a 5 to 10 millisecond hit, and that was doing a lot of lookup. Doing it this way is going to be faster. We're not even going to see the hit. And it's a one-time hit. So I think we'll be fine. If we look at the extensions here, and I was going back and forth. No, it's not in the text extensions. How come these things aren't consistent? I almost want to do one just to put everything in the right place. Android platform. Um, font extension, that's iOS, Android. Yeah, why does this one live in renderers and this not in the extensions? Whatever. All right, so in here, I'm actually looking for TTF and OTF through three folders, and it's a 15 millisecond hit on a device. I was getting 5 to 10 milliseconds in the emulator, and the emulator is so slow. So I'm okay with that. And I think we can keep this similar here. So we'll throw this export font attribute Oh, wait, I was checking to see if I need to subclass this thing. I don't want to because we don't have the two types, but I need to see how it's used inside the registrar so we don't mess anything up. All right, so the registrar is going to go through, find all the attributes. Um, it then, it's going to need is that. So the only issue I could see is the additional attribute lookup. Yeah, we're already doing that for all of this now follows the same pattern you would do when you're registering custom renderers. So it's that hit, whatever that is. And then if they make, the nice thing if we follow the same pattern, if we do something in Xamarin.Forms to do a build thing so you don't take that runtime attribute, to be honest, I fought back and forth on this. Jason and I, now we're jumping into Forms history. So how to register and do the registrar. Jason and I sat in a room in San Francisco for a good day on a whiteboard, mocking out and going back and forth on building this registrar. And we came up with this API we liked, registrar.register, and then it was you did it in code and you passed in two types. The one thing we really liked about that at the time was you had full control over this. Actually, if we're gonna just do a little talk, let's go full screen. So as this was happening, it would allow you in C# control the way these things are registered and the order of it. So if you went through and you registered at the time, the only downside of that is each of your additional plugins, if they had registrar stuff in it, they would have a platform init. So you'd have to, for this circle image renderer. How is my mic screwy again? Oh, I see. Okay, 1 second. Let me fix this. I know what happened there. When I switched screens, it unmuted all my mics, so you had two of me. I can fix this. Audio, so this doesn't happen again. Disabled. All right, now that can't happen. Sorry about that, fixed it. So what I was saying, it'd be registrar.register. And you'd have to init all of your platform renderers. But then the nice thing about that was, since you had to init them all, you would know the order that they went in. And so you could have control. If you want one to override the other one, just do them in that order, and then you'd always register yours last, so that way they were in full control. But it made you write more C# code, but there was no runtime hit because we didn't have to look through and search assemblies. On Android, we realized that that assembly hit was actually an issue, and we've done some things there to fix that. And now with this thing we do, I know when we went back and forth, when Jason first implemented this thing, I'm like, this is horrible. We're taking a runtime hit. And he assured me it wasn't too bad. And overall, especially like on iOS, you don't notice it. It's really not bad. I know we've had issues on Android and they've done some things to mitigate that. But we're already using this. And since that hit's already being taken, adding one more assembly in there when they're already looking through, and that's actually one of the big changes we made. So originally, when you did these, we did it per class. So we'd put the attribute on the class, not at the assembly level. And so we would load up each assembly, load through each class, and look for those attributes. And that, no issues on iOS, super, super fast. We jump over to Android, and it was a big issue. And so before we launched Xamarin.Forms, we moved those from being class attributes to being assembly attributes. And since we've done that, looking through all the DLLs isn't too bad. We're already going to be doing it on yours, so adding one attribute, you're not going to notice that extra hit. So, make sense? That was fun going into the history. We can do those whenever you guys want. Ask for more detail. I'll do my best to explain if I can. All right, so I don't think we're going to take a hit. Now, I do think we're going to have an issue here. If we don't subclass the handle attribute, which why they're forcing those to be here when they're not forcing it along the way, that's interesting. So if we don't subclass that, it's going to go boom. All right, now we know. All right, so export font attribute. Let's copy and paste stuff. And my mic did not mess up that time as I switched. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully no more sound issues. All right, so I think we're fine on the attribute. Like I said, I want to profile this as we go. What did I do wrong? Something's wrong. This is right. This is right. This is right. We are missing a curly brace. Okay. So It's sad because this doesn't fit. But I don't want to do this search again. So maybe we'll have to talk about not casting this to a handler attribute. So for the font one, we're going to change this. I'm sorry. API is changing. And we're just going to pass Nolan because there is no target. It just doesn't make sense to have a target. All right. So instead of a type, this oh, this is not good. Let's look at this thing. What am I doing to this? Okay, target is type, null, type. Excuse me, sorry. All right, so we're going to just do. Nope, not handle attribute. I'm in the wrong one. This is tricky. We're just gonna say it's a type of itself, which does not do. I want. Oh, they're gonna force that. We're gonna have to change this, guys. We are going to have to change this, I think. I don't think that's gonna work. And I don't want to do something really, really hacky as we do this. So let's look at how the registered works. So the registered type of tview renderer. Dun dun dun. If this doesn't force the type, we should be fine. I think we're gonna have to do a font registrar thing. We're gonna have to have a separate font registry. I don't know how else this will work. Darn it, didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do that. All right, so I'm still going to piggyback off of their search. I mean, off of their little thing, because I don't want to take the hit of doing it a second time. What we'll do is we'll cast it to the handler attribute. If it's not that, we'll check if it's a font thing, so it doesn't blow up. Arg. All right, not fun, not fun. So I wonder if that makes sense to do a whole font thing. Does anyone have any ideas on this? Anyone on the line? Anyone thoughts? I can do the font thing internal for now, so I'm not modifying the external API very much. I hate internals. But I don't know, whatever I'm building here, I don't think I'm ready to expose to the world, aside from the attribute, because I don't even know if I'm going to be married to this thing yet. I really wish I could just use the registrar. But the registrar is for putting two types together, and we're not putting two types together. And the registrar won't let me search for it by those names, so it's not going to work at all. All right, it is, what do we call this thing then? Our font registry? Regist. Did I spell? I did not spell. Is there an E in registry? Yeah, I need a custom font registrar. I just don't want to take the hit of searching for those assemblies twice. I don't know if I like the name registrar for a font. Oh well, we'll call it font registrar. I even copied and pasted your spelling, Dan. So if this is spelled wrong, guys, it's Dan's fault. You all witnessed. Okay, so, and I'm going to have this registrar thing use it. That way we're not doing anything different. We'll just throw that in as that type. Wait, we made the registrar public? When did we do that? Oh, it's inside of internal still though. Nope, it's your spelling. I copied and pasted it. Mine's bad too, so. So the registration is what's not, oh yeah. Oh no, this now exists. This API was gone for so long. Someone brought it back. The original registrar had this. So I'm really glad that's back. Super, super exciting. Well, you better spell check it because I'm using it, so. Fine, I'll use this spelling just to make sure, but that looks right to me. Yeah, you did good. You did good. All right. So internals.register.register. I want to make sure that I'm hooking into this thing. So it goes through and I want to load it the same way. Registered? What's registered? So static. Okay. What's this iRegisterable? Oh, that's just an interface. I wonder if we can do something off this anyway. Okay, so there's this interface, iRegistrable. What's that used for? Why is there an interface that has nothing in it? Okay, so let's find what uses this. Maybe we can piggyback off of this somehow. Cell renderer is iRegisterable. What in core? Nothing in core. Image renderer. The register, no. That's really, really interesting. I wonder what purpose that thing uses. Okay, so it's a tag to find something that's relevant. Yeah, I'm just curious. It's not even used for very many things. You see in cells, and that's it. In images, list view, but everything doesn't use it. Does iVisual renderer uses it? Okay, so everything gets it. Okay, it was just interesting. I was just trying to figure out what it was doing. But yeah, okay. So what's this? I just want to see, maybe we can piggyback off this instead of creating our own. So this registered.register. No, it's still forcing it to be. This is what confuses me. A new register of type. And the register takes this where iRegisterable. So is this type the first thing that comes in? What returns the T? Okay, get handler brings that back for type. Okay, no, we're not gonna be able to use this. It's still two types. Just wanted to make sure. So public static. I'm wondering the right way of doing this to follow the existing API things. Last time we just made this whole thing static. But of course we've changed it since then. I'm just making sure I do this to where I want my pull request to get accepted. I have the same anxiety about that as you guys. I want my pull request to be accepted. So I want to make sure that as I design this, I follow the current patterns, which the registrar is the closest thing to what we're doing. Also, the routing is actually kind of close to what we're doing. Just curious what the routing does. So routing's a static class. So if routing's a static class, I can be a static class. Perfect. Static class it is. Public, static. And for now, I hate internal. I'm sorry, guys. But we're going to make this thing internal just because I'm not married to this thing yet. And I'm not sure exactly how I want to properly expose this to everybody as far as putting in and registering the custom tag things. You know what? Oh, and I haven't set my topic. What's my topic at? We are not adding fonts. Let's. David, where were you on the topic? All right. So, topic. Let's do. What is our topic? Our topic is adding or loading fonts from loading Xamarin.Forms fonts from. All right. Oops. Perfect. Now our topic's updated. All right, so we're just going to make this thing static. I'm going to go public because I hate the internal. I loathe it. Everyone okay with that? Or do you guys think we should stick with internal? Vote. Anyone on here want to vote? Hey, Calvin, thanks for following. No one have any preference? Yeah. If you want to know the real reason is because anything that's not internal and we change it, we have to support that. If it's something you can use, then and we want to change it, and Xamarin.Forms at the very beginning, I'm getting both. I don't know. The problem is once it's public, we need to support it. At the beginning, Xamarin.Forms was changing and changing a lot. Had we kept everything public, even though I hate that we didn't, and we didn't make things protected, things like that, it made it to where we couldn't change those APIs without introducing breaking changes. So if as little as possible is public, then then the nice thing about that is we can change them if we don't like what we've done or we've made big mistakes. And we're developers just like you guys. We make mistakes too. Uh, it happens. And so with such a big API and so much going on, we have been opening more and more as it's matured. But starting out, it's nice not to have it public just because we could screw up. So yeah, that's why. No, and it's an internal debate. The problem is if it's internal, you don't have access to it, and it's like, oh, I just wanted to change one little thing in this renderer. Now I have to copy the whole renderer. Oh, look, the renderer is using another internal class, and I don't have access to that. So that's why you get stuck with this copy and pasted code. This thing hopefully shouldn't have that. The problem is this thing isn't what I think I want an internal because this font register is not what you think it is yet. Because I don't, this isn't going to be a way to tie fonts too simply together, if that makes sense. I just need something that says these fonts live at this embedded resource. Or at least these are the embedded resources you have access to, and here's the font name. That's what I need. This thing is basically just going to be a static dictionary. Wrong hotkey. Oh, I don't have my keycaster on. Let's give you my keycaster so you guys can see my keys. Okay, dictionary, string, string. Okay, that's all this thing is. And this is embedded fonts. Static. Okay, and where's my keycaster? Sorry, did that to get the keycaster. Let's add this in there. System collections. Okay, so all we need now, public static void register, and this is going to be the export font attribute. That's all this thing is going to be right now. So I don't think I want to, and I spelled attribute wrong. I don't think I want this public yet because you're not going to need it, you're not going to use it. So I don't know. Does that make sense? All right, so people talking chat. I'm working on implementing material navigation in Xamarin.Forms and have to copy a whole lot of navigation code render. Yes, it's sad. We're slowly, if there's something like that that you think that we should make public, send a pull request. Say why, and it's probably going to get approved. Right now, we're in like the great opening of forms and opening it up. So feel free to ask for those. Push those things in there and we'll look at exposing those. And as David said, he's working on fixing it in other ways. So definitely ask us to make these things public. I hope you guys jump out and do that. If there's something you want, send us a pull request with it open, or file an issue and say, hey, we need this open because of this. The fonts, I mean the styles are something I'm looking at getting opened myself because it's sealed, and I'm like, come on. So I agree. Definitely ask for those. This I don't think we're going to need right now. But yes, so definitely ask us to. But yeah, I don't think we'll need to right now. Not for this, sorry. We need to open more things. We don't need to open this thing up. And I'm just going to make this an attribute because I don't want the history that comes with that. Public Um, export font attribute string and resource font embedded. Should we call it embedded resource to be clear? That could not be more clear. You know exactly what that thing is. And then also, I will allow you to do a second one that's optional that will allow you to specify the file name. That way, that'll help. That'll help with what Dan wants as well. I think this is good enough. I like this. Okay, so Dan said, I'll be the first to admit Forms was still closed source. I'd still be confused how this thing works. Yeah, it's true. I'm glad we've open sourced it. I really, really am. So we'll do this, and we'll do a second one with string font file name. Okay, perfect. Okay, and let's initialize as a property. Done. Let's initialize the font name. Come on. We'll do this. And now here, what we will do is we'll grab the last dot. We're just going to assume if you don't pass the file name, and all these fonts seem to follow this same pattern. So we will say if you don't pass it in, it's just going to be whatever the last dot is, because let's look at these embedded properties, right? So we're just going to say it's going to be the last part. It's not going, we're going to remove all the resources nonsense. We're just going to go to the last dot. And if you have extra dots or something crazy in there, you can specify the font file name yourself. All right, so we're going to do the file IO path stuff is awesome. Maybe we need to get the second to last instance of the dot. I don't know what the best way of splitting that off is. Thoughts? Anyone have thoughts? Should I just use, because I'm pretty sure if I grab the file path is going to tell me that is jacked up and wrong. Now that we have the right font thing, let's put this in here. I like that. Did I not make that thing public yet? Export font, Xamarin.Forms. We're going to remove it from core because this will just exist in forms. And then we have this. We're almost there, guys. Sorry, there's a lot of internal debate going on with myself on how to implement this thing. But I think, okay, let's do this. Let's work on this part. Not that one. Close you. Font attribute. So we need to get that name, and we want to get the second to last thing of the dots. Now you could edit your so that there's only one dot, but let's say I don't want to parse that thing twice. So embedded resource dot. All right, we're just gonna do this. Split on. We are gonna split on. Why can't I remember? Split on dot. That way we're only parsing this thing once. Parts equals. All right. So if file parts dot length equals 2, then you've changed it and there's only the one dot. All right. So we'll say it's good then. So the thing is, Dan, I want to just do some font.ttf. I don't want you to do like assembly name.fonts or things like that because you then have to specify them that way inside of your XAML, and that's going to get ugly because most people, you don't want to think about these resources being called that. Do you know what I mean? And so I want to allow, if you don't specify the file name, that I'm going to get some font.ttf. That's why I was looking at my example here. So my example here, this is what everyone's going to mentally think. Oh, cute font-regular.ttf. That's what I'm putting in here. So I want to get that part. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, it'd be horrible. And I don't want you thinking about that. So I'm doing that for you. Oh, no, not return. Font name. File font name equals embedded resource font ID. So if there's only one dot, then you've gone in here and you went to the properties and you were nice to yourself and changed this resource ID, because you can do that. You don't need that full path. So if you've done that, more power to you. You're awesome. What else would you call that? I'm open to suggestions, but this is the cute font regular. It is the resource ID. I mean, that's what the thing's called. So that's why I went with that, so it's explicit. Now I would like you, I could do a lookup. So what I did, so when you guys register this, let me ask you guys this then. When you register it, do you want to do that full name? Hold on, I have the font name. Let's look at where this is used. This is good to debate this. I'm glad you guys are on here. At least Dan's asking the hard questions. All right, so in here, is this how you want to register it, or do you want to register it without all that nonsense? The only question is, what if you have more than one this way? So when I do my own personal projects, this is what I do, and I do a fancy lookup. So, I mean, I can show you what I do. I do a fancy thing where I look for the resources. It is a runtime hit since it's not exact. If we make you do exact, it'll be a less of a hit. So I want to allow you to do this or do this. I can do that, but it's going to be a runtime hit. Probably not a bad one. We probably won't notice it. But if you guys just want to say the font name, the name, I can allow that. And I will allow that. That's what, oh, yeah, I can allow that. So if we do that, I would want to allow all three of these. The reason being is, whenever you do magic, you need people to be able to specify things. So how about we allow all three of these? Thoughts? Anyone got anything they want to add? That's what I'm going to be doing is ends with. Exactly. I will be doing ends with. But I then have to search through all the embedded resources. And it does work with the full name. That's exactly right. But it's a runtime hit. All right, so I'm going to allow all three of these. All right, spoken. You all have spoken. The code I'm writing now still matches with this, and I still think you need both though, Dan. I think it needs to be called the resource ID and the font file name. That way, if you're overriding because you want to use it however you want, I think I need both. Because let me go back to my app. I want to allow this third one to where you can say this thing equals this. So like you were saying you want to do like what was it, the something awesome font? Yeah, you have an idea, let's hear it. Love to hear ideas. All right, I'm going to keep going with what I have while you're typing that out. Because we can change this. This is no big deal. All right, so if not, we will just say file parts. I need the last two. Okay. Var last equals file parts dot length -1 var. We'll just call this extension file name equals file parts dot length -2. I just want to make sure I have these right, guys, just so. And we'll do this. That way we can debug this. It'll be easier to debug. While Dan comes up with a better idea. All right, so file name dot extension. All right, so what if you did some logic to where you can see the fully qualified name is empty or not? I could do a lookup there. Well, what do you mean by that? So to where you don't pass it in? So you would rather do file name, comma, fully qualified? So would you rather something like that is what you're saying? So that way the full resource ID is not what you're going to do most of the time, because who does that? Right, so I'm trying to see, because I have that here. That's what I have right here. Based on which constructor you call, or constructor, I'll know. I'm just wondering what the benefit of trying to think of what I'd gain by changing, or by, I mean, I'm already doing that. I mean, I don't want to do the lookup here because you may never use these fonts. And so, actually, good question on this. I'm wondering how we might have to do something in this anyway when I try to load these fonts, because I need to know what assembly this attribute was found in. When you have two methods, one gets the resource by full resource dodge without the hit, and the one does more gymnastics. I get what you're saying. In that case, I would reverse them. I would just have one, and I would just do, I think I just do this, right? Something to that effect. Dun dun dun. The thing is, the font file might not need those gymnastics anyway. It could, because if you go in there and edit those, I don't think the gymnastics hit's going to be that bad. I don't. I really don't. I don't know. Let's just go with the gymnastics for now. Let's plan on gymnastics, because who doesn't like gymnastics? And then we'll profile it. And if it's slow, we'll see how to optimize it. Deal? And I still think I'm okay with this, where you pass in the resource ID. Maybe we just call this one font file name. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we make a big deal over all this. So I agree on this font resource ID, but I don't like it when they're both strings and you switch around the order of things. So I'm going to do this. Let's do this. Okay? And we will just assume if you don't pass in the resource ID, it's just the file name. Hold on, let me think how to do this then. And I'm going to assume you don't care. You're not going to pass in that whole thing. I like this. That will actually eliminate a little bit of, that will eliminate some of our gymnastics. We'll just assume you're not doing the full path. So let me go to here. So I just want to go to my sample and show how this will change things. So that means this is never going to work. You're never going to do that. You're just not. You would do that if you want to specify. The problem with having an alias and a file name Yeah, we're adding too many things at that point. Here's my problem with the alias and things. This kind of is the alias, right? If not, oh yeah. Hmm. I wonder if we want. Yeah, this is interesting. So I can add an alias as well. I mean, we can do that. We can add one that both of them have an alias, and the alias is just going to be the font name unless you set it. That way we can have it for lookup later for your aliases. The thing is, this alias stuff for these embedded fonts are not going to work unless they're custom fonts, which should be fine. So then, yeah, but then where do you, I don't know. I'm unsure on the alias thing right now. Right, but as you mentioned on Twitter, you want to just have font family equals SF instead of doing this. Yeah, that's separate from what I'm building right now because, I mean, kind of is. This could be extended to do that, but right now, the biggest thing I run into now is if we're building that alias thing in right now. So we have this alias, you can just do SF everywhere, right? It does when you look at what I'm trying to accomplish right now. So right now I'm adding an additional lookup area. Yeah, it's all about registering a locator, but right now I'm really in the mindset of this locator is strongly registering it to an assembly. What about if you want to use that same syntax now, and you're not doing a custom font? You're putting it to Helvetica or Arial, something that's in every single device. So now you have Arial, and you just want to do A everywhere because you're lazy like me and you don't like to type Arial out every time. With what these are doing is for exporting an embedded resource. So I'd need to put something in there to where what happens when it doesn't find the embedded resource? Now it needs to fall back and look at the system fonts or the file fonts registered elsewhere for that alias. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So where this right now, what I'm trying to do is tell you these are the embedded resources and this is what it ties to, which is a bit different than the alias. Yes, there's still lookups, but that complicates the other lookup right now. I think that's a different pull request, and we'll probably be able to reuse some of what I'm doing here, but that's going to change quite a few things about what I'm trying to accomplish right now. Do you agree or disagree? Um, Love to know your thoughts. All right, so I think I'm going to go with this. I don't know if we should. We have system font handler and embedded. Yeah, I don't know if I'm. I don't know if I'm jumping into downloadable font yet. That's a different thing altogether. But file system font handler. Yeah, we could do. We could separate those things out, and maybe that's what we'll end up doing. Yeah. Yeah, but throwing on an alias right now, I don't think is an issue, right? I'm trying to think even how to handle this embedded versus font thing. All right, we're going to just assume for now that whatever you put in here is this font name. So we'll say this font name is just going to match this file. And if you want, you can specify the resource ID. I think that greatly simplified this. I don't have to do any gymnastics yet. We did eliminate some gymnastics. At some point, let's deal with aliasing fonts. I think that's a separate thing. I get what you're saying, and I hopefully we can use this because you're right. It would be nice to have those. Hmm. I'm trying to remember on an alias, if we just have a public property on here, what does that do on an attribute? Can we do it? So public string. Let me just get iOS building really quick so that way I can play with that. I'm just thinking for this, would I be able to then do alias? If so, we'll go with it. All right. Yeah, I agree. That'd be nice. We probably could do something where we do something with image sources. What we could do, we might end up tying into the registrar anyway to handle these. So that way you can registrar and say embedded font handler. iOS will have one, Android will have one, and UWP will have one. We might tie into that, and so you'd be able to override those. Oh, why is this on the wrong one? I don't want to go to embedding. Let's go back to this. Make sure this builds. Actually, I'm going to open up my window a little bit. It is getting hot in my office. There were tractors going by earlier, so it was too loud. Had to close it. All right, build error. Namespace declarations cannot have match. Oh. What do you mean? Namespace declarations. Isn't that where you throw those in there? Or do you put them inside the namespace? Can't remember. It's been too long. No, that attributes the class. That's saying it needs to be an assembly level. Did I not have a, do I need a space between them? All right, let's run that again. Namespace declarations cannot have modifiers or attributes. Am I crazy on this? I thought I was doing that right. Renderers, let's go to, because they throw it all into the assembly level one, not references. It's inside of properties. They have an assembly level one, which is where they throw all theirs in there. Assembly, oh, I need the assembly part. Okay, I was wrong. Been too long since I've written this stuff. All right, so that is what we're looking for. Yeah, we can do that. And maybe, I think you're right, Dan, let's move. Let's just delete this whole one. All right, so are we happy with this? That way we can now, if you want to manually specify, you can. And then this one would be, what am I thinking? Okay, are we happy with this, guys? Anyone have any objections to this API? Everyone's quiet. I think we're happy. I think we have consensus. And Dan's not complaining, so. And then, of course, you could do all of the above. Okay. And I'm done thinking, so I could put music back on. All right. I like it. Now, we'll need to have a new class. Oh, not an Android. I think what we'll need to do, I'm trying to think the way I've handled this. We need something now for the registrar to do like what you were talking before with the image source stuff. So we need to have something to register. Maybe, I wonder if we could do something with font. No, we need something that's going to tell us back this thing. All right, so let's go into forms. And we need something that's going to have the nonsense we need. We will do add new class. I think we need this. Okay. So if we have an embedded font, we need font name. Ah, it stinks to bring in a new class. Public string. I don't. No, we're not. This isn't gonna need the alias. Well, because it's gonna do with the loading it. So public string. I wonder if we can put more of this into cross-platform if we do it this way. I don't know if I'm going to use that alias thing yet. I might comment it out because I don't know. That's another one. So let's do. You might need an adapter service implementation. I'll look at that video later. I think what we'll do here is we'll do this with a stream, so that way this has the resource stream. That way we can put more of this in cross-platform land. So we'll pass over to the native side the font name and the resource stream. Okay, and now our font registrar is going to have I wonder if I need to do anything fancy here. I'm trying to think how we're going to tie into that. So something's going to call the registrar. We probably want to do all of the lookups here for the resources. I wonder if when we register this thing, if we can pass in what assembly did it. So okay, we'll come back to that. Just thinking this through really quick. All right, so we're going to need public. We need to create what this platform specific register thing is going to be. Because the iOS, were we going to need that there? No, we won't need that. Never mind. Ignore what I'm saying. Okay, yeah, we're not going to need that. So we're just going to have the register, which will then just do embedded fonts dot add, and we're just going to do font attribute dot file name. Oops, what am I doing? Equals font attribute. All right, so that's all that thing's going to need. So we'll. Oh no, we're going to save this thing. Oh, wrong thing, wrong thing. Okay, so now what we'll have is we have those things registered. What we can do is we'll do the lookup thing here too. Let's go to the registrar because that is going to need some magic in there. So do we still have that search from earlier? No, that's the wrong one. Registrar. That's right. Registrar, this will take us to where we want to be. So we're going to need to do something in here. Right now they think everything is a handle attribute, which they're not. So what we'll do is let's grab this thing out. So var attribute equals a as, oops, didn't mean to copy that much stuff. All right. So now if a attribute equals null and oh, actually we're gonna want to throw an exception on this thing if it's not. That's all right, we'll throw it. Attribute equals null and a as, what do we call this? Export font attribute AF, or I'll do FA, font attribute. Okay, indent this back in here. Oh, There we go. Else, font, what do we call that thing? We call it the font. What's that thing named under? Make sure these namespaces match. Xamarin.Forms internal. Too many things open here. Too many things. Export image. Maybe this doesn't have the right name. That's font extensions. Font registrar. Oh no, this is .internal, right? Is that what the registrar is under? Okay, we'll make sure those are in the same namespace. And now we can jump into here. All right, so just notice chat. I think you need some sort of interface like iAssembly aware. So when you load an attribute, yes, I need to save what it came from. I need to make sure I have the right for each assembly. So I'm going to pass this assembly in. Is there something we can do for what assembly aware? I'm just wondering if there's something like that already. Because they pass in the types, they know what it came from. So maybe I'll just save it in. This is all internal, so I can do fancier stuff. Font, registrar.register, fa, comma, assembly. What's this? All right, so we're gonna pass that thing in there right now. What? Something's off. Oh. Is not equal to null. That's better. I need a parentheses there. If that is equal to null and this is not equal to null. Am I missing a parenthesis somewhere? Let's just build it. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able anything to do. I'll just save it here. I thought that was right. Can't I just do A as FA? Does it need extra parentheses? Isn't that the right syntax? Does this not use the latest C# stuff? C#, cast as save variable name. Thought that was like C#7. You can do that, right? Oh, input is int count. Okay, I can do that. But I thought I could do the other one. That's cleaner anyway. So now A is export font attribute FA. Okay, that's happy. I like it. It should be is not as. Yes, thank you. Okay, so let's say so now we know which assembly to look these up later. We are just going to be lazy. Since this is internal, this is nice about internal. You can just do things like that. And then I like it. Perfect. All right. So now we have the attribute and we have the assembly, so that way we can deal with those things later. All right, so now we need to do something to where we register this embedded font. So when the fonts are like, hey, do you have this thing? It can be like, yeah, I got it, and look it up. So we'll go back to our font registrar. And what's it need to return? This is what we'll do. Public static bool. And let's make this thing. I think we're going to want that as a task. You'll see why. Actually, that can't be asynchronous. The fonts need it right then and there. Okay, never mind. Those extensions all have to do it on the main thread and don't, I'm guessing all of those, none of them. We're in, that's core. Font extensions. Okay, where are we at? That's platforms, Androids. Inside of renders, there's a font. Font extensions. Yeah, none of those are async. So we can't do any of these async as well. So has font. I don't know. For now, we're going to do it non-async. We can look into it. The thing is, yeah, I don't know. The way this is used everywhere, nothing, it would be a big change to make this async. It'd be a big change. I'm just looking at how everything uses this. Where was I at? Not here. In the wrong place. All right, so let's look how everyone's doing these as extension methods. Or the whole thing was architected as these as extension methods. So if we look at the font, no, that's font, no, that's this one. So everything just says, hey, take this thing and cast it to a typeface. So if we look everywhere this thing's used, nothing is. No, that's font. Oh, that's font image one. Same difference. We may need to look at the font image source, make sure I'm doing it right. But find references. How is that not used anywhere? Okay. I mean, we could make a lot of things async voids. I think Forms would freak out if I did that. Yeah, I'm not going to do it now. Maybe we'll put a big to-do on there. Let's make this, if possible, later. Let's close the registrar. We're done with you. Close the button renderer. Close the font extension. We're going to need you. Assembly info, you can go away. Global, you can go away. You can go away. Hey, you're asking. I don't want to do a major architecture change. I just don't. And async voids are great whenever you're doing like an update off like an event or something, but most of the times you don't need them. Which these are all off of an event because they're all procced off of I notify property change. So, all right, so we've got that. Has font. Now this is going to do registrar dot registered dot get handler, and the type we want is, didn't I just add embedded font? Where did I add embedded font to? Did I add that to the wrong project? That's in core. Oh, this is internal, that's why. No, but we don't make these things, any of those. Those are just in forms. All right, so here's what we'll do. Now we'll do embedded font. All right. Equals that. Now we haven't built this thing out yet. Is that not right? No overlord. Oh, thought that was right. Oh, I have to tell it what I want out. No, do I? The renderer is registrar.register get cell renderer of what type? What type is that? Did I say no overlord? Probably. I believe it. Need more overlords. Okay. Used to play StarCraft all the time as a kid. Why not? Alright, so get handler. Do I need to pass in a type for that too? I thought I could just say, hey, go get this thing. As T out. Because I don't care about the type. I just want to... Do we have it registered? View type is the thing... I can't remember how to use the stupid registrar. Okay, I just want a dictionary thing where I say, hey, this is what I want. Get handler for object. This is more of what I want, but I don't have a type, an object already. Because this just does type of, right? If that type equals... I wonder if I'm missing something, guys. So I want to go to the registrar, and so you registered embedded font with like an image, like you do with an image handler. Then I should just say, hey, I want an image handler. Let's get this thing out. Good morning. Thanks for joining us today. Anyone else remember this thing better than I do? Get handler type. That's what I want. Type of, and I want embedded font. Let's hope it's fine with it not being a view. All right, that's what I want. All right, so now we'll do font. We need to have... Okay, so now what we'll do is first we need to, let's go to... Okay, I'm gonna go to GMusic and steal some code just because I don't want to rewrite this again. So GMusic, helper, resource helper. All right, so this is the one we want. I'm just gonna steal this thing. Whole method. All right, no problem. I'm just stealing my own code. It's totally allowed. All right. So we'll steal this thing. So we'll do this, then let's add a stream. We'll say where, grab that. All right. So we'll throw it does not have the font. Um, is that not right? Or it's not right line. Come on, I did that right, didn't I? Thought I added it. All right, perfect. So now what we can say is var font equals get embedded resource font. All right, so that'll find the font name. Actually, we need to do a couple things first. We need to first say registered. Okay, registered font equals, if not, what do we call it? Embedded fonts dot try get value. And this one's going to be font, comma, out var, okay, perfect. So if we can't find the font, if we haven't registered it, nope, didn't exist. Oh man, I haven't done a 4-hour stream, so it's hopefully David's stream you fell asleep in, not mine. And we're not going to make that public anymore. So get embedded resource, found font.assembly, and the font name. All right, so now what we have is we have a thing that's going to go fancily. Oh, I have the is file. Let's go grab more stuff from my ngmusic code. Okay. Why do I even have that? I don't remember. We're going to add it in. All right, so we've got some resource lookup stuff that'll look up for that resource. It'll find it, give us back the stream. So now if we get the stream, and that's going to throw an exception, right? So it'll return false. We'll just assume it's good. So now what we'll do is we need to have this, we need an interface for this I embedded font loader. Man, this is killing me with all these new files. Add new file, general, interface. So I embedded font loader. Does that sound good? You guys like the name I am font loader? Gotta remember there's a delay. I was about to just commit to it. All right, I'm committing to it. If someone comes with a better name, we will rename this. So public bool load font. Sounds good to Dan. We are good. All right, and this thing is going to load. What am I passing into this thing? I'm going to pass in a stream and a file name. That's all I need. Wait, didn't I create a class that just had that? I'm going to pass in the embedded font. I have this. I have this, guys. We did it. Do we even need the embedded font? What do I use embedded font for? If I'm not using this yet, I'm going to... Ah! I did use it. Okay. All right, we needed it for the registrar. That's why we need it. So we're just going to pass that thing in since we have it. All right, and why do I have... I'm doing an interface. And you don't even do public on those, do you? And why is this? Yeah, just complaining that I had public on it. See how much I use interfaces? All right, so now we'll do font handler. I bet, Dan, that one probably made you vomit too, me not using interfaces. All right, so now I can't remember what I just... Can I do that? Oh, right, I can't. So I font... No, no, I can't remember what I just named that thing. It's got to be right up here. I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if I believe you at all. Okay, so I don't need the gallery. Close that. This project's too big. It's so hard to navigate everything. So I just added a new iFont loader, right? Did I add iFont loader to the wrong project? Nope. Oh, embedded font loader. Right. And then what namespace is that in? Ditch the core. Why isn't the default namespace for this project not core? Yes, there is a thing is over interfacing. I agree. Load font. New embedded font. Font name equals font. And the stream is font resource stream equals font stream. Actually, does it need name resource for stream? I don't know if I like that. All right, perfect. And we'll just return that. I like it. I think we've now added everything we need. We just need to add platform specific stuff. Super, super exciting. I think we're there, guys. we're almost there. Uh-oh. Right. They want you to add all that ordinal in there. Wait, why do I replace? I don't remember why I even do that. Huh. All right. We'll think about that later. All right, so that gives the file name. And actually, hopefully, let me double check something on that. Okay, we'll just go with that for now. I know it works for all my SVG loading. I wrote that a long time ago. Okay, so let's go on with this. We have iEmbedded font. We have that. Let's go to our platform iOS now. And, oh. No, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Never mind. Okay, so now we need a add new file, embedded font loader. I like it. I like it a lot. A lot, a lot. Okay. Why aren't you going to offer to fill that out for me? Where's my, there it is. Oh, come on. Implement interface. All right. Now, for iOS, we get to do really fun things. All right, have you got warnings on errors enabled? It is enabled by default on iOS only. iOS only. I've meant to comment on that. Treat errors as warnings. Let's go to Android. It's some of my code I copied and pasted between them. Someone cares more about, oh no, it did there too. Maybe it's the warning level. Level 4. Compiler. I don't know. Yeah, I had something else, but it's kind of cool. I like how we're really crazy about that. All right, throw that in there. Okay, perfect. Load font. All right. I'm going to have to Google this because I don't remember the exact syntax. There is Marco Arment years ago did something on this. Load custom font from NS data. He did it because he was showing how to do it for what was his old app that had the typing, and he had some fonts that were required to be encrypted. All right, yeah, here's a full thing from there. So we're gonna have to read the data out. From, is there a stream? There is a stream. Thank you. Font dot resource stream. All right, so that is a CF error. What do we call that? No, that's not. I don't know. We're gonna forget about that for now. We'll get to the error. All right, so CG data provider. I hope all this stuff is bound. It is so far. Dot. That is saying CG data provider dot create with CF data. That's from file. Let's do new. Oops. What was that thing called? CG data provider. Oh, it lets you pass in. Okay, we'll just do. Okay, it doesn't let you do a stream. We can do NS data though. So we create a provider. We then do a font from data provider. And actually, I didn't keep track of that type. CG fonts. Font from provider. and then we'd register it. Okay, so if it's, oh, then we register it. Okay. Oh, and they want you to, nah, that's all old stuff. I don't know if we need to do that. All right, so CF Font Manager. Why is that saying? Oh. CG font, there we go. I like that naming recommendations. CG font, wasn't it called CG font? CT font. CT font manager. Dot register font graphic font. Oh, it's just NS error here. G font var, or no, sorry, out var. Out var error. We'll just say if, yeah, let's if. We'll return true. Okay, else we will do right line error dot description. Actually, we already have return false. It'll go. All right. So iOS should work. We just need to do a couple things to tie it into the platform. So we need to go to where the registrar does its registration. So let's find all references of this. Come on, find all references. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Search, find in files. Knew you existed elsewhere. I knew it. Okay, type of this, type of that. We're going to throw in ours. And what did I call that thing? I called it export font attribute. Let's just add those everywhere while we're in here. Oh, that just hurt. And we're not, I haven't done GTK. I'm not touching GTK. WPF, we haven't touched that yet either. We've done this one. So we should probably throw a to do more of these. Or ask for community help. Alright, so here we are. We're almost there. Oop, wrong button. Let's throw, come on, don't do that. Oh, 2 commas. Alright, so that added those in. We've now got all of those. Now we need to go to iOS. We go to Properties, Assembly Info. What's the root renderers? We may need to be, oh no, okay, we're fine. Okay, so now what we'll do, and actually that's interesting that those are, I wonder if I should be under there, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna worry about this. So export type of, this is called embedded font. Type of embedded font loader. Right? Okay. Now we need to hook that up so we can use it, and then we can test this code. So let's go into Platform iOS, and then we'll do Android. We'll go to the renderers. Is that where the font one lives? Nope, it's not in here. Is it under extensions? I wish this was consistent. All right. So now we get to hook into this lookup. We don't cache anything on iOS. I wonder if we do the caching. So what this does first is if it's a built-in font, go on. So now we're heading to our custom ones, right? So I clean it up to where it's usable. Cleaning that up ditches the font name. So we're going to need this clean the font one, stuff we started at the beginning. We're going to need to bring all that nonsense back because I now need the font name. Of course we do. Oh well. Let's go back to Git. Let's check. Wow, I've done a lot of changes. Fixed iOS font loading. All of this is coming back. And we're going to need to change this a bit because we need to get the font name and the font style. All right. So we're going to need all this fun stuff. Now let's ignore what we have here and let's look at this. So what we need to do is, all right. This old logic doesn't quite work now. What we need to do is I'm going to have to add stuff in to test the other. No, we can test it all here. So we're going to need to know the font name for the lookup. So if the font name exists embedded resources, else move along. So that way we can do that lookup once. We may need to implement caching on this stuff because we don't cache these fonts where we do on other ones. Okay, actually, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to AFK for just a second, and then we'll dig into this. If anyone wants to read through that code and then tell me what we think we should do, let me know. I'll be right back. All right, I am back. And no one had any thoughts on how to implement this. So I'm debating if we should do this here, because what we need to do is we need to have a way to check for these extensions and see if that exists. What we could do is check if it's already loaded in. We're gonna have to throw some caching in here. We don't want to do this a lot, so we're gonna add caching in here because iOS, Android, and UWP already have caching. We don't have any caching for iOS yet. So let's add some caching in here. We'll get to that. Let's make it work first, then we'll add caching. So we need to say, hey, does it have the index of, right? If it has the index, I mean, if it has the hash, then they have the file name, and then they also have, um, and then it also has the, sorry, what am I thinking of? If it has it, then we know the extension. If not, we don't. I mean, they should have the file name and then also the style. So we have the two things because we need the style for loading it for iOS, but we need the file name for loading it from the embedded resources. So we need to say, okay, does it have a hash? If it does, then we know the first part is going to be everything before the hash, font substring that hash index. Okay, so this is the font file. Okay, and this may or may not have extensions. Okay, if it doesn't have that, we're going to need to separate this stuff out a little bit. Okay, so if hash index is greater than 0, then we know it has a font file. Okay. All right, now we need to verify if it ends with any of these extensions. So we'll do that. If not, we have the font file. Else, there's no hash. We're just going to say, if there's no, then they're not saying a file. That means, I'm just trying to think these things through. So this means it is split. It is something like, let's grab our examples. So that way we do this right. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything as I rethink this logic. All right, so the things that we support are nothing, no hash, or something like this. And then we this or .ttf. Okay, perfect. So else, I want to make sure I throw comments in here so I don't forget what it's supposed to do. Else it is something like this, which means we're going to need to remove that last index of the dash. We did that on Android. Let's verify what we did on Android. And that was inside of renderers. I just want to make sure I'm not crazy on this. Because I know we had to deal with this on Android already. So in Android, when we do this, we go through and hash index, right? If hash index is greater than 0, the family name substring hash index, and we replaced all the spaces in case. Okay, so that's the family name. And then I should name these better. Name these the styles, not the name. And then else if hash is greater than 0. All right, so hash index plus 1. So that's the last part. Else grab this. And then what I do is I loop through. Let's just grab this stuff now. Let's make it similar. Yeah, this is what I was saying. If I don't have the ordinal, it complains on iOS, where on Android, it's totally fine with it, even though they're both set to the same warning levels. So that's interesting. Okay, that's good. Grab those, right? So now I have the extensions, and I can loop through. I do something where I check if it has. I thought I did something where it would check for the index of the dash because dash regular's typically not in there. Formatted this, that, else name. I'm just trying to think how this works with the cute regular because I know cute regular works. So folder, formatted name, extension. Okay, we don't need the folder. We just need this formatted name. If it ends with extension that, we're good. Else substring, we take that thing off. Why do I do that to double check it? It's kind of weird, just to keep it consistent. But I'm worried about the ones that have dash. Do they put the dash regular typically in the font names? Now I'm second guessing myself. Oh, it does. We're fine. We're totally fine there. Okay, I like it. We're just going to borrow even more of this code now. Kind of funny. Now that we're borrowing more of this, we may need to put this into shared stuff. Oh, too far. Okay, font name, font style. So instead of returning though, let's see. Doing? Okay, thought my headsets was messing up for a second there. Okay, so we don't need any of this load type stuff because we're not actually loading the type. We don't need folders. We're not doing anything with folders now. So these aren't quite the same. Okay, so this is what we're doing. We're trying, and we don't even need this formatted stuff. This isn't quite the same. So we need to check if that thing exists. This is getting tricky because I'm trying to think of how to do it with the extensions. We need to do a check, and I don't want to do too many checks because I don't want to keep hitting this. I want to say, hey, this is the font we're looking for. It's most likely TTF or OTF. So what we'll do, and we don't need this name because that's not needed. Okay, so we have that. Well, now I'm wondering if I'm missing anything. So I've got that. We get the file name. I don't like this. I don't like that at all. So what we could do, all right, we'll just do something different. Var has extension equals, let's clean that up a little bit. We'll do has extension equals, we are looking for font family name dot, and then we need to know which one. Okay. Extensions dot any. That's what we'll do. Font family dot ends with x comma. All right, perfect. We'll do that. If it asks me, hey, I just got a follow. Thank you for following. Nipankarla Alra. I almost said it right. Close enough. It's kind of fun to try and pronounce some of your guys' usernames. All right, so what we'll do here is we're saying, hey, do we have an extension? If it has the extension, we know what it is. If not, we're going to try each of them. Oh, no, dot. First or default, because I don't want to do this check twice, right? Let's go back to that. Let's check this. Found extension. Man, this thing's getting more complicated than I wanted to do. Because we need to check, we need to get the thing out to where we have the font name and the font style. So we have that, so that way we can look this thing up. And I don't want to, we might pass this thing in. So, okay, we might, all right, we'll do this. It's more code, but it is, I think it'll be faster overall. All right, so what we'll do here is now we'll say, so I wonder if we should just do the font. Where's this thing? I wonder if we should try loading the font here. What do we call that thing now? Now I can't remember what I called everything. We have our font. Close stuff, close stuff. We have too many things open. It's the font registrar. That's what it's called. That's what I'm looking for. No, isn't that what we called it? Font registrar. Let's go grab that puppy. We need to call that and see if this thing exists in there. Pages, close you, close platforms. So we'll jump into this font registrar and we will ask it if it has this. And we're gonna, to be honest, we don't care if it, why did I just get an exception? All right, can I save everything first? Nope, nope. I was close. Sorry, I tried. I do try on those names. It's difficult. All right, we're just gonna have to force quit. It did not like what we're doing. Let's reopen this again. Yeah, Nippunkalra? I think that was better. Hopefully better. If not, I'm just embarrassing you more, or insulting you more. That's the word I'm thinking of. All right, reload Xamarin.Forms. All right, so let's get into this font thing and let's get it done right. So what we're in the middle of doing is we're loading the fonts from iOS. We need to go check and see if this thing has been registered. But the problem is we might not even have the font name yet. So we have to go from what was passed in, derive the font name. Yeah, load the autosave. That would be very nice of you. Too bad you didn't remember my, hope I need to make this window bigger. I didn't remember my font or my scale settings. All right, so what we need to do is we need to go in here and say if it is this, well, if it finds the extension, we need to just go check anyway, and regardless, we're going to return that because it might not be registered as an embedded one. It might be one you just include, and then it's not on me. And then that'll let us know if we have the font. If we can't find the font inside the stuff, we're still going to return it anyway. And we don't even need to deal with this. Because we don't need the font after this. Because the font could be listed somewhere else. All right, so we're going back to string. And why is my IntelliSense? What's it updating? Yeah, overwrite that. Let's just close all the windows and start over. My project is not finished indexing anything yet. Going manual, going hard. This project's so big. I feel bad for Rosalind trying to parse all these files to get all of my IntelliSense right. No wonder it takes a while. All right, I need IntelliSense. Come on. Faster. Update the resources. We're getting lines. It's doing something. Xamarin.Forms makes the IDE cry every time. All right, we're just going to just go with this. Let's bring this class up so I can deal with it. And I think it's just gonna be we had a method on there. we kind of need to just say, we're going to return the font family no matter what. But we need to first go in and have it load these things. If it can't. I'm on like a latest edition MacBook Pro with like 16 gigs of RAM, but yeah. My Windows desktop is great. It's got like 64 gigs of RAM. It's a beast, but okay, this shouldn't take that long. It's never taken that long. Let's close the solution, save the file. I'm going to reload it again. All right, let's just since it unhappily closed last time, I'm going to close it properly, relaunch it. All right, let's load forms again. Let's jump in there and build some fun form stuffs again. So what the thing is, what we need to do, to be completely honest, we don't care if it embeds the loaded font anyway, because it doesn't change anything for iOS. On Android, it's going to change because we're not going to look stuff up anymore. We're like, oh, we're done, we're good, right? On iOS, we don't care. So we just need to say, hey, if we found it, stop looking, else look through both the extensions. And there's only the two. So we'll say if it has the extension, oh, remember my font sizes. Be nice to me. I thought they said they fixed that. Let's make you bigger. It's restoring packages and beach balling. It'll go, it'll go. I have faith. We have colors. Did we have this many colors last time? So something's parsing. All right, so let's scroll down and let's just type away. We don't care. We know what we're doing now. So we need to go into the platform, not that platform. We want core. So let's jump into the core. Let's go to our font registrar. Come on, you know you want to open. Okay, font registrar. And we'll do this has font. Since we have the font name, if has font, oh, font registrar dot has font, return font, or name. We just want the name, right? No. What am I doing? I'm typing everything wrong. We want font family name. My naming on these are horrible. I should fix those. Return font family name, because those aren't even technically correct. Shows how much I know about fonts, and I'm writing on the font loading. All right, so we have that. If it finds the font, move along. All right, we're gonna do the same thing here. And if it doesn't, you know what? We're returning this font family name anyway. Now we need to add some caching in there. And that should be good. Let's hope. Let's put some breakpoints in now. Let's hope it all works. Um, put breakpoints here. I want to put something on the registration. I think we got it, guys. I'm overly optimistic, but I think that we have loading now for iOS. Pages, we don't have to do anything there because we have it registered here. We've got lots of these. Let's start simple. Why is that not commenting out my code? What is it doing? Why is undo broken? That's not fun. How can you code without undo? Okay, except I wanted that one. No, which one did I want? I want this one. We're just gonna remove the alias. Actually, the alias doesn't matter, does it? We're not even using alias. That's the one I want. And we're gonna do it first without. We're just gonna, no, we want that. We want it. We said with it. Wait, what did I do? Feed still working? No issues? Oh, my little key thing? Yeah, I kept pressing undo a lot because it wasn't working. I have that little keycaster, and every key press I do, like, it does a bunch of them. It's the only thing I don't like about keycasters. I'd prefer just to see one. Yeah, it's just showing my key combos, so you know what I'm doing. Because I use lots of hotkeys and I forget to tell you guys, and it gets annoying if I tell you guys every time. Oh, I didn't have. What did I have there? If. How is this not internal visible to this? And this is saying I'm missing a semicolon. That's saying that. Okay. Why don't I have a scroll bar there? Line 73. How does that? Static string. Oh, my bad. From when I just killed stuff. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, isn't this all internal visible too? Do I have to do anything fancy to get the internal visible too? Forms core properties assembly. Internal visible to maps iOS. Where's platforms.ios? Do the platforms not use it? Oh, it's internal to platform. What's in platform? What is this nonsense? How is it not internal visible to platform iOS? That's pretty cool if they've been able to manage to do that. We might not be making this thing internal because I don't know if I want to change all the internal stuff. Don't know what else to do. Internal. What's that thing called? All right, let's run this. Sprayed water all over my face. Don't do that. Don't recommend doing that. Run. Running iOS. Okay, I was hoping I wasn't making running Android since we haven't implemented Android yet. All right, iOS is working. Editor visible too, would that work? Yeah, I mean the internal visible, you mean? Yeah, I could just add it, and I might. I'll go back first. I just want to see if this is working first. So we're registering cutefont.ttf with that. Perfect. That registers. Let's go to speakers. It'll look this font up. First one, it's like, that font. No, that didn't do the extension. All right, let's look at the calls track. All right, so let's look at this. Oh, no, that's why. Because I'm smart like that. Let's try that again. Oh, is the editor visible how they're doing the private but not private? I mean public, but I don't know, hidden. All right, so that's registering it. Let's make sure this goes. Go to speakers. Like I said, we're gonna have to clean this up so it caches. All right, this one it's not going to find. Oh no, it should. We didn't register that one. Let's register that one. It's not gonna find any of them if we don't. So we also want to register them all. So we have 3 different ones, and we can register each of them differently. All right, so let's ditch this stuff. we'll do, actually we've got lots of them. So I'm using these two right now, right? So cute and then this one. Oops, didn't want to open that. Let's rename, paste that in there. So now we've registered both of those. We'll go with that for now. Actually, let's do them all. Oh, I thought I copied that. So we have, what, 1, 2, 3, and there's 4 of them, so we need one more. All right, perfect. That looks good. All right, so we are registering multiple fonts. Font file name, that's 1, cute. Okay, we don't need breakpoints. We know we're registering. Registration works. Okay, run those. Go to speakers. Let's have this thing look up. Uh-oh. Invalid cast! That's the problem with all the when you add too much error handling in. Alright, so this thing blew up somewhere. Okay, where are you blowing up? Let's step through this. And I need to make sure doing this doesn't break all the fonts that are put in the old school way, because we need backwards compatibility with this. Alright. So registrar has font. Embedded fonts, we're just going to step through this. Get stream, break through. Has one. So we have a stream. We have a font. Export attribute. Oh, it's this cast. Maybe I'm using the registrar wrong. Var, let's see what comes out of this before we cast. That's right, we're making progress. And the stream stuff works. We know how that works. All right, look again, look again. It's snowing outside. Opening those windows finally cooled off my office enough. It's quite comfortable now. All right, so nice thing is whatever we fix here, that stuff's on the cross-platform, so that'll work in all of them. Well, for the most part. All right, move these breakpoints because we don't care about those. Does TTF. Registered is an embedded font loader. Okay, so it wasn't there, so we'll step over. How does that blow up? That's really, really interesting. Did I not implement the interface? I thought I did. Embedded font loader in iOS. Maybe it's something in the load. Am I doing it in load? But why is it? I don't get why we're not getting the crash. Snow, you've heard of this. So it's been like a couple weeks ago. Snow's all gone. It's been great. I mean, it's not been warm. It's in Alaska, but it's still been warm, like overall. It's got up to like the 40s and borderline 50s, and it was kind of nice. I switched to shorts, and it was starting to turn green. And then this past week, it snowed a foot twice at my house. And I'm like, I took the snow tires off the car already. Where is this blowing up? And yeah, and now I'm sitting here and I have no way to deal with the snow. And it keeps snowing. But it's supposed to get sunny the rest of the week, so I'm just gonna hope it's gonna melt this week. Gets up to the 50s, it better melt. All right, so we get this out, right? We have registered. And registered is an embedded font loader. How in the world can that not cast? Is it a type that's coming out? Oh, it's a type. I have to new that thing up. It doesn't create one for me, does it? Yeah, that's a type. Right. Can I tell it to new one up for me? It'd be nice if I could just say, hey, get me one. How do we load these types? What do we do on the platforms? There's something with the renderers. What's the... Does anyone know that syntax? Let's Google it. Can't remember. Mint.forms. There's something with the renderer factory. Okay, let's just check if we can do renderer factory. No, I can't do renderer factory in cross-platform. Can I? We're doing something weird here though, so this is different. All right, we're just gonna activate this thing. Actually, yeah, we'll just do that. Can I just do that? No, that's not gonna do it. We'll need to do registered. Sorry, we're gonna call this. I'm just gonna call it type because that makes sense. That's what we need. All right, see ya, Dan. Thanks for your help. Hopefully this will follow and work the way you want it to work. You've had lots of input, so if it doesn't work the way you want, it's your own fault for not speaking up more. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're creating this thing. I'm not totally in love with this code, but we normally do this stuff from the shared code, and I didn't want to copy and paste code, so doing things a tad bit unconventional, but I think it'll work. I think it'll be nice. That's working! We have a handler. Let's load this thing. It's gonna load! And it returned it! We have a font! No, that's returning the wrong thing. We don't want to return the font family name. We want to return the name. Okay, it's not going to work because I did it wrong. All right, but I think we're going to have iOS loading. And if iOS works, Android's going to be super simple since we're past all the hard part. Oh, so exciting. So exciting. I like it when it works. I like it when it works a lot. I'm probably going to have to do another pass at this and see if I can clean it up some more. If there's some optimizations, like no, I need to cache iOS because we're not going to do this every time you get a font. That'd be dumb. Okay, speakers. Remove some breakpoints. We don't need all these. We don't care about all those. Whatever doesn't work, we care about that. We have fancy fonts! Both of them are working. That's so awesome. Actually, I want to see if this is already optimized. Let's check our extension and see how many times this is called. So if it's only called once, it's already caching it. Might be cached. So exciting! We have custom fonts loading from an embedded resource on iOS. All right, so we should get 2 of these, right? 1, 2. Money, it's already caching it. That's exciting. I am so excited. Let's commit this stuff. Should have done Stream Helper. Why didn't we update the topic? All right, I think I'm going to, let's check what all that we do. Moved those, moved those, moved those. Those are a lot of white noise. We're gonna do the sample separate because I don't want a ton of white noise. Actually, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And yes, no more info.plist nonsense. Let's only do iOS because that's all we fixed. Remove those. Added the registration. Why does it have a remove? That should not have a remove. Am I wrong? That shouldn't be. Yeah, why are we removing those? We're not checking that in. Okay, moving fonts. Blah, blah, blah. Don't need that. Don't need that. All right. Don't need that one. Do this one. We need this. We need this. We need our font loader. We need our registrar changes. We need our forms registration. We need our iOS loading. Font extensions fixed. Forms is fixed. Add that into iOS. I'm wondering, should we keep going and finish up Android or if I should end? It is getting late. I've been streaming for a while now. All right, that's good. All right. All right, perfect. Throw that in there. Android shouldn't take long. You guys vote. I keep going. We finish up Android. You guys want to stick around or should I end this? Come on, someone's there. There's 12 of you watching. 12 of you can vote. Silence. So keep going. Keep going. Is that what I'm hearing? Let's finish this up really quick. Android's going to be easy. We can do this. All right, let's do our topic. Um, Android embedded resource. Done. Okay. Did I quote that? Okay. Let's update that. Retweet so people know they can keep following. Um, Finishing this up. All right. So we've got Android. We fixed that over. So all we should have to do now is go implement that one thing and the extension. So we'll add it. What do we call it on iOS? I want to call it the same thing. Hate naming things. All right. Embedded font loader. There we go. All right. So Android's different, guys. Android's kind of sad. I don't like how Android works. So we're just gonna do Android. We're gonna put a to-do in there. Clean this up if we can. I embedded font loader, and my watch is yelling at me. I've been standing too long. You know what? I'm gonna listen to it. Go up all the way, desk. Is that as high as you're gonna go? Ah, that's all right. That's better. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna stand. I wish I'd like my sit stand desk, but it doesn't go high enough. All right. So for this, where do we cache images? I want to look at the image stuff. Does anyone know where we cache images? How we save that? Because we're gonna need to cache this to a file. Oh, hey, here we go. Isolated storage. Nice. We can do that. I like it. Where are we using this? Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Forms, isolated storage, because we're going to need to cache this because there's no way to load it from a stream. So how are they doing this? iOS and Mac does that. Android, what are we doing on Android? So they're doing something for forms, get that. All right, we're just going to do that. All right, so when we're using that, do we do a using? Find references. I'm not even seeing them use it. Oh, URI image source uses it. Okay, so let's look how they use this store. We'll do that. Find references. Okay. Oh man, they are totally. That's fun. We're probably gonna have to do that too. Lame. Lame. Alright, so let's cache this thing. Let's look how they're doing it. So they do grab this store, and then we're gonna copy this over. We've got our store. We're going to do this to it. We're gonna have to do the same thing on UWP as well. Okay, embedded font loader, do that. Make sure we're gonna do you know what? I'm gonna be lame. I'm gonna use their cache. Or should we do a font? Because then we'd have to. There's no reason not to use theirs because if not, we're gonna have to do. I don't know. I'm feeling lazy, so I'm gonna do that for now. All right. So now let's do their caching. Okay. As locally cached copy. If not, we're going to write it. Actually, can I get the file? Because that's what I need from this thing. This one's going to need the file name. Darn it, this API is going to have to change. It's not going to be a bool. It's going to be... No, we can do it. If we do... We'll do it differently. This will be fine. This will be fine. Oh, that's iOS. Did I really just add that to iOS? Save that. No. The hotkeys are off. There you go. Move your hands to the right place. We're going to close iOS because we don't need iOS anymore. Okay. I don't know if I like this. We might be changing things. Because we need to cache it out to a file. And then we need to be able to pass that file back. I'm just curious if we were to do store dot I don't want to open the file. I just want the file path. I don't know if I like this isolated storage thing. Can I do inside the... Let's look at what this is on Android. Maybe because we're doing Android specific, so we don't need the cross-platform version. So isolated storage file from this puppy. I'm just wondering if we were to do this. Let's add this. I'm not totally familiar with isolated storage, but can I just do I can't get the directory, can I? Yeah, that's not going to work. I can't use the isolated storage cache that they're already using. I'm wondering, on Android, don't we have... I think we have a thing we can do in here. I think there's an Android one we can do, which we can use. And if we do that, we'll just take that hit on load each time. Prefix and suffix. We don't want that. We want a specific name. Creates a temporary file given the prefix. You know what? We'll use this. I like this better. We're just going to write it out to here. And then we can do this predictably. We might need to change this to pass back. I might need to get that path elsewhere. So for here, font name. If file dot, let's bring in the right stuff. Problem with standing is I dance a tad bit more because I got music on. Not that you guys came here to watch me dance. Okay, so we'll just go with this for now. I'll think this through and talk to the forums team. Maybe they have a better idea on how to do this. So we'll do, and then font.file name. So if exists, okay, if it exists, return true, right? Else, we'll do file.create. We're going to do this in a try catch, so if it fails, we can kill it. And you know, this code will actually work on UWP as well. Debug.log. No. What we'll do here is we'll make sure that we will delete this thing if it fails. That way we don't keep this file around saying, yeah, hey, it exists, we're good, and it doesn't. All right, so file stream. I'm going to need that file path. So if it exists, we're just going to go with this. We're just going to hardcode it for now. Well, like I said, I'll talk to the forums team, see how to properly do this. Or we can request this. I don't know. I'll think about it. We'll think about it. We could have this thing return the font name and not do it in shared code. I just like doing it in the shared code area. So what we'll do now is we have our font dot resource stream dot copy to. All right, so we'll copy that thing out. All right. Oh, I can smell dinner. I need to finish soon. My wife is cooking dinner and it smells amazing. All right, so we have our resource loader. So we can say, yes, it worked. And then we're just going to go over to the Forms Android. And let's see if this thing works. Not 100% a fan of this thing, but we'll now say, oh, it's inside renderers. Renderers, Android, font extensions. All right. So now when we're doing this load thing, we're going to want to say, instead of just the folders, let's also, we'll check the embedded resources first. All right. So we'll check the extension first. We'll say, okay, so if, what do we call that thing? It is, I keep forgetting it. Font registrar dot has font. This part needs moved out. Oh, no, we don't want that. We just want the font family name. This part can go into here. Oh, that's not gonna have, oh well. All right, so if it has that, we can now do, we're going to now do, instead of load that from there, we're going to do, what's in here? Typeface.create, that's what we need. Okay, so let's jump over to here. We'll do, instead of dot create from file, and I don't like this, so we'll put a big to do. But it's good enough for now, and we'll clean this up later. Copy this out. And we'll say the file path is temp, and instead of that, it is this thing. We probably want to specify these just because. Okay, so we have the file path. We can now say load from file. And that's it. All right. Return, what's it asking for? Okay. This should work. Let's find out. And if it works, I'm going to end because I'm hungry and I can smell dinner. Sorry. I'll commit this though so you guys can look at it. If any of you guys want to take a look at this and clean up some of this code I just did, I have some to-dos in there. We'll check through first and then we'll go into the folders. Yeah, feel free to let me know. Push something along. Hopefully these embedded resources will just work. I want to do some code cleanup. We'll commit this thing in. I need to do UWP still, but it's going to be basically the same thing. Oh, so let's push up Android, iOS. It's going to the device. But yeah, I would love a pull request on my Fort branch. I'll post this up here just to make sure you guys all know where it's at. Just Clancy, GitHub/Clancy/Xamarin.Forms. So feel free, send me a pull request. Commit to this. We'll get your name in there as well. I just want to make sure this works. I think it will. Of course it's going to work, right? What could go wrong? Oh, I heard a funny noise. I have no idea what caused that. Speakers. Hey, look, our fonts are working. And I just want to verify. Didn't I have breakpoint? Did I not put any breakpoints in there? I put no breakpoints. And it worked. Yes! I can't complain when it works first go. Luckily, the first part was all cross-platform stuff. So at this point, it was just, yeah. Super exciting. And these are cached, so it's only going to happen once. I'd like to put some timers in there, and let's check the profile on it, make sure it's working. But exciting. I'm glad you guys enjoyed watching it. I think weird, so most of the time it works. Doesn't always. I'm glad it worked out this time. And I think there's probably going to be some optimizations we can make in here. I definitely want to make it to where we get the name from that thing, so we can probably do that as well. Maybe we do like a Boolean and a name because we'll need a name on everything but iOS. iOS will just ignore the name. Yeah, maybe I'll change that interface. Okay, run, run, run. Breakpoint. I just want to make, it's not. How is it getting this? Okay, I have no idea how it's working then. That is magical. How is it that magical? I'm doing debug. There's no way that just works, and no breakpoints. Try again, try again. Is the debugger not on? Trying not to sing along. That'd be embarrassing. Wouldn't be the first time I've done something embarrassing though. Go, go, go. Hit breakpoints. Add more breakpoints. Oh, okay, we're loading fonts this time. Is asset font false? Oh, do I? Hold on, where am I at? How is that? Okay, yeah, okay, we're good there. We're getting breakpoints this time. Good, good, good. Okay, press play. Wow, how'd that not even fire into our... Oh, I know why. But I'm still amazed that worked. Let's look at our code really quick. Do I still... I thought I removed those. Maybe they're still there because it's cleaned. Let's delete this app. I think I know why. How do I... That closes it. How do I delete on Android? Shows how much I use it. How do I delete an app? This is embarrassing. Apps. No, that's permissions. How in the world do I delete an app? This is very, very embarrassing. Storage. Storage shows it. Other apps. There's got to be a better way to delete it than this. Xamarin.Forms. Hold down on the icon. I don't see the icon. Is it under this button? Oh, it's this one. App info. Uninstall. No, that's Gmusic. That's the wrong one. Okay. That's totally the wrong one. We don't want Gmusic. Okay, I'm just going to launch it. Delete it. I know why. So the problem is we didn't actually go into the, what's it called? Properties, assembly info. We never registered that. So I can go steal the iOS code because it's going to be identical. Okay, so swipe up on the launcher screen. Oh, there we go. Thank you. This is what the screen I was looking for. Can't believe I couldn't remember how to get here. Stop this. Now it should fail this time. Thanks. Thanks a lot. That was really bad. All right, so that's uninstalled. I'm going to run that while that goes. Let's go over to iOS. Let's copy over. I added the font. Where's my font? Okay, we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it into Android. Let it run first, make sure it fails. Because we went into Page Gallery, Droid, and Assets, I deleted all those. So I think it was just still there from an old deploy. The assets were still there. Yeah, I can use ADB. I definitely have ADB installed. That's how I do a lot of my Android stuff. But I should be able to try this way. Run, run, run! Alright, this time we shouldn't get fonts. Because now the assets are gone. Break. Yeah, those aren't gonna fire. Okay, where is it at? Okay, maybe it just has those fonts. That's right, let's try the other way. Because something's not. Let's do it now. Now it should use our new fonts. Okay, on older Androids, you really need it because deleting the app will leave lots. It could be leaving something behind. It could leave some assets behind. The assets should be gone now. So now, well, I don't know. I could reset the device too. I don't care. But let's just try this first. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I just couldn't remember how to get to the big app list. So they changed things. Swipe up. I build apps for Android, but I don't use the OS, so kind of sad. I should use Android more. All right, so this time the font stuff should say yes, I've got it. Because the has font should have been throwing an exception that it couldn't find the embedded stuff. But now that we've registered it, it should work. Press play, font register. Okay, we've got to be getting an exception somewhere. Why am I not getting it? Go to has fonts. Oh, why are there two dots? Oh, guys, it's my own dang fault. I know exactly what I did wrong. Font extensions. Why can't I click on these? Really? All right. I put a dot in here, guys. Is this the right one? This is iOS or Android, right? Android for each extension. Right here. There's no dot. Why is my cursor not working? This is why you don't string concatenate twice, you just do it once. Yeah, there used to be a button there. Launch the app list and you'd see it all. Just swipe up. Makes sense. I mean, I'm used to that on iOS now, swipe up to get back home, so it's pretty close. All right, strings there should now be right, so now it should be fine. Let's try again. And then I can go eat, because my dinner is smelling amazing. Not trying to rub it in for those of you who don't have food right now. But problem with streaming too long is you don't get to eat. And I just drink a lot of water, so it's all right. Luckily, though, time-wise, being in Alaska, it's only 5 o'clock here, so it's not too bad. Not too bad. All right, go fonts. Now I need to find out how it's finding those old custom fonts. We'll have to do like Font Awesome or something to test it out. That's for another day, though. All right, so font family. We don't care about that one. This is the one we care about. Now it's saying it's right. All right, so now we're going to load it from our stream. Do our font handler. Return true. Return. Let's hope that works. I think we got it. Code was so close. Uh-oh, nope, we've got some exceptions. No, no, that's a different thing. That's something about mono TSL. That has nothing to do with it. That's images. Okay, we don't care about images. But I think we have custom fonts. Yeah, something's. I think it was my breakpoints. Build, and it's killed our images. But if I remove all breakpoints, I think we're now loading images right from that cache. Now I want to make sure I want to use a custom font that I've never used before just to verify. So I'm going to do that before I really move on. But I'm going to consider this a win. Let's check in some Android stuff now. Remove that from Androids. Remove that from Android. Pages gallery. I still don't know why it's trying to add that in. Oh, did I not commit that last time? I might not have committed adding those. That would have broken the iOS stuff. Totally broke the build on my, but that's okay. All right. We're not committing that. I'll load from embedded resources. That wasn't bad. We did that pretty quick. That was like what, under 20 minutes, under 30 minutes? Yes, exciting. All right, UWP is going to be almost the exact same thing. Okay, it doesn't, something's up with the images, but that's not my problem. Maybe I broke images. I'll have to look into that. But it's all right. I'll look into that later. Thanks, guys, for watching. Really excited. This worked awesome. And I'm not sure when I'm going to stream to finish this up, but I will be streaming again on Wednesday where I build Gmusic cross-platform for iOS and Android using Xamarin.Forms. But I'll do some more of these building Xamarin.Forms and extending it. Thanks, guys, and I'll talk to you later.